What is up, guys? Welcome back to another video. My name is Nash, and in this video I'm going to be talking about how I'm switching my career at 23 years old. I know it sounds crazy, someone who is 23 talking about I'm switching my career. Like, how long have you been working? So that's what I want to cover in this video. I'm going to be going over, my reasons as to why and why you should think about it as well. So I'm going to go back into a little bit of my backstory. I know I think I've made a video on it, or I haven't, or I mentioned it in a bunch of videos, but it's always like these brief statements. So I'm gonna give you a little bit of a backstory, but I'm pretty sure I'll make a video on this in the future. But I graduated back in May of 2020 with a bachelor's of business in finance from UTSA. And as soon as I graduated, I started working. I went to work for a third party administrator, right? And if you have no clue what these types of companies are, I'm going to give you a little bit of explanation. So, a third party administrator, let me give you an example actually. So, let's say you start a business, right? Company XYZ, and you get some employees and you want to get them benefits, right? Let's say like medical insurance, vision, dental, life insurance, right? Things like that. Let's say you want to give them those benefits. Now, you can go to a company like to an insurance provider like United Healthcare to ask for, hey, I have 20 employees. I want them to have medical insurance. How much is it going to cost me as a company so I can, deduct that money from the employee's paycheck and things like that. We can go into that later on, but essentially, what United Healthcare is going to tell them, it's going to give them a dollar amount, right? And then they can, kind of like negotiate and things like that. So a lot of companies don't want to do that. They don't want to go to the insurance company and negotiate. And, there's a lot of paperwork involved. There's a lot of things that could go wrong. It's a lot of work that goes in the behind the scenes, right? To make sure who selected what benefits. Are they actually enrolled in the benefit? Are they paying their premium? Did their premium go up? Their premium go down? When you make a claim, that has to be processed. That has to be, it's a lot of work that goes in the background. So a lot of companies don't want to deal with that. So company XYZ does not want to deal with all of that nonsense. So what they're gonna do is they're going to hire a third party administrator, right? This is where the company that I work for comes in. So they're like a back office for company XYZ and the insurance provider, right? So which might be United Healthcare. I'm just using them as an example, right? So they take care of everything. So they'll ask you, you send them paperwork. These are the employees that I want these benefits. Sometimes they'll even negotiate the rates, how much premium is going to be charged. They can even calculate if you want to pay, if you want to pay part of the employees medical insurance, right? You can do a cost share between the employee and the employer. They say the benefits were $1,000, and the employer pays $600 of it, and you pay 400. So that's how much the 400 is gonna get deducted from your paycheck. But more on that later. I don't want to go too much in depth, but that's kind of like what I did. That gives you an example. So this is in the insurance industry, but we're providing a service to the company itself, company XYZ. We're also providing services to the insurance company or insurance provider as well, right? So we're kind of like a back office that makes everything make sense, right? And there's a lot more involved. It's not just that. There's a lot more involved. Like we talk about processing claims and things like that. So we can, if you guys want to see a video on that, on what a third party benefits administrator does, let me know in the comment section below and I will break that down for you because I fully understand the business. All right, so moving on, that's what I was doing. So that's what I got into. So I started off as an analyst back in May of 2020. And I was so ready to learn, ready to climb the corporate ladder. If you guys have watched my channel before, you know that I talk about strategies on how to be, how to win, right? If we're all playing a game and the goal is to win. So I play to win, right? If you watch a lot of my videos, you see that I give a lot of tips. And these are things that I actually do in real life. And just to make the story short is, I went from analyst to, I've been at the company for a year and 10 months now, from analyst to management within a year and a half, right? So that tells you that some of the things that I've done, they actually work because I practiced those things. So I went from analyst and I went to a different position, and now I'm working in management. It's been for the past 5 6 months. I'm in management now. Now I already know that I like doing this stuff, but I enjoy working for in the insurance industry, especially for third party administrators. I enjoy that so much. I know that I love it, right? One mistake that I was afraid of making is, enjoying this so much that, you know, I just stay in it, right? I never get to explore anything. I never get to see if there's anything else that I like, right? If you've watched one of my videos on should you get a bachelor's degree, I mean a master's degree, I always tell you to wait 5 years, right? Go into the workforce and work for 5 years and go get your master's after. And when you're working, you have to go from different, especially in finance, right? I was in insurance, and then now I'm gonna be moving on to consulting, business consulting, right? On the banking side of things, that's what I'm gonna be doing. I already received an offer from one of the big four firms. If you are not familiar with the big four firms, go ahead and look it up. They are, you should be able to narrow it down. I'm not gonna say it right now. Maybe in the future I'll make a video on which company I'm gonna be going to. This is something that I've always wanted to do. If you ever want to work at the big four straight from college, you know that that is competitive to get into. So I've made a video on if you have a bad GPA, if you cannot compete to get into one of these elite companies, the Fortune 100 companies, if you're not able to get into those companies, get a job at a mid-sized company, small company, and gain work experience and then apply afterwards, right? Which is essentially what I did. I was working at a mid-sized company and I applied to the big four using that experience that I gained for a year and a half at a mid-sized company, and I got in. So this goes back to finding out more things that you want. In finance, there's so many things you can do. You can go to insurance, you go to business consulting, you go to being a financial analyst, you can go to so many things, so many things that you can go into. So if you like something in finance, which is your first job, I recommend, working there for maybe a year, 2 years, and then move on to something else that you think you may like, something that you want to explore, right? And the good thing is you can always come back to what you actually like. Let's say, I go whenever when I start working as a business consultant, right? I'm doing that, and I realize that I don't like it, and then I go to being a financial analyst again, right? I work on that. I realize that I don't like that. Now I can always go back to insurance because I actually enjoy doing that, right? So I kind of like have something to fall back on. So this leads me into my next point, which is finally getting your master's degree, right? Now, after maybe 5 years, 6 years, 4 years of me trying out these different routes in finance, and I realized that I actually enjoy insurance. When I go back to get my master's, I can get that master's to specialize in what I know that I like to do and what I know that I want to do, right? And because I've already tried all these other things that I think I like and I don't really like them. So when you go get your master's, you're gonna specialize in something that you actually enjoy doing, something that you can see yourself actually doing, because you know that you've tried everything else and you don't want to do anything else but that. So that's my recommendation. That's why I always say do not rush to getting your master's degree without actually trying out the work itself and having to know what you want to specialize in. And also my other goal was to learn other things. So one of the biggest things that I've learned ever since I graduated from college is what you learn in class is essentially the foundation of everything, right? It's the foundation. You're not learning how to actually apply it, how to actually do it. They're just giving you the tools, right? But when you go out there, there's different ways of doing things. Think about, whenever they make you memorize the formula, you don't have to memorize the formula when you're at a job. You can simply Google it, right? It's not against the rules. So you have the tools and you have to learn how to apply them. That's one of the things that I've learned. And going into different jobs in finance is going to teach you different skills and in different ways to apply this knowledge or tools, different ways to use the tools that you have. And my last point is going to be for people that graduated with a bad GPA and they weren't able to compete enough to get into those Fortune 500 companies, Fortune 100 companies. So they settle for a mid-sized company, which is a great option, or a small company. But your goal is to go into a Fortune 100 company, right? This is what happened to me. I graduated with a 2.6 GPA, right? Got into a mid-sized company and I was successful in that company, or I am successful in that company. I was able to learn, I was able to get promoted, get raises, and all of that, right? I was able to do all that. Now, it's easy to get too comfortable. It's easy to just say, I love it here, right? I like it here, right? It's easy to forget the bigger picture, the bigger goal, right? Your goal is to work for a big corporation, right? One of those Fortune 500 companies. And I'll tell you why. Now, if you're working at a mid-sized company or small company, right, you don't have a lot of room to grow. You don't have a lot of room to grow, right? Look at even when it comes to, let's say the company has 100 employees, right? It's gonna take a lot for you to be promoted to, let's say, supervisor level. It's gonna take a while. Someone has to leave that position in order for you to fill it, right? So sometimes at a bigger company, if you are in a department and you want to be a supervisor, if the company is big enough, if it's, one of the big four firms, these are global companies, so you can move to a different department and become supervisor of that department. So in this big company, you're gonna be able to grow horizontally, which means you can go from department to department. You can also go vertically. You're within the same department and you move to maybe supervisor, manager, director, things like that, right? Or you can go this way. What happens with a lot of small companies and mid-sized companies, you only have one way to grow, which is vertical. That's the only way you grow, right? You cannot grow horizontally simply because the departments are small and a lot of people are already putting on a bunch of different hats, which is you have to do everyone else's job, right? Simply because it's a small size company. You're just supposed to be a specialist in everything, just in case this person's not here, you can fill in and things like that. So if you are one of those people, never ever forget the bigger picture. No matter how much money you're getting paid, how much you are no matter how much money you're getting paid, no matter how fancy your title sounds, never ever forget the bigger picture to go for a global company that's going to allow you to grow in all types of ways, right? And if you can grow in all types of ways, that means that's more for you to learn. That's a lot more experience that you're going to have on your resume, or that you can apply to different positions. But that was pretty much it, guys, when it comes to this switching my career at 23 years old. And I kind of like gave you guys a little bit of my backstory, but if you guys want to hear more, let me know in the comment section below. And also, you don't want to wait until you are 40 years old or 50 years old to try to switch careers, because what's going to happen is sometimes they're not going to make you manager when you go to the different company. They're going to put you at an entry level position or maybe a little above entry level, and you're going to be working with 23-year-olds like me, right? And I don't think that's a good feeling. You are 50 years old, you go into an entry level position where a 22-year-old is your supervisor, right? For me, I wouldn't feel good about that, but that's just me though. But that is pretty much it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to go ahead and hit the subscribe button below if you haven't already. And also leave a comment below if I missed anything, if you want to add anything else to this. But I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.